watching.
You are watching.
You're watching. You guys are watching.
You're watching Soulful Discussion.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. I'm doing great. And so, how did our paths cross today? How did we just meet?
I'm at like a company picnic, just walking and
Sweet.
interview me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I approached you. And what did I approach you about?
You said stress management, I think, or reflex feet.
You're close. Yeah. So at feet, mental health, reflexology.
Okay.
There it is. So in terms of mental health, are there any topics that you kind of follow closely? You kind of pay attention to?
I'm a special education teacher, so I work with a lot of students with trauma. So yeah, it's really important that we incorporate that in schools, I guess, or mental health for them. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be talking about today depression and anxiety. A certain way I learned through another guy who's a YouTuber. About how to cope with it. So when we get there, I wanted to see what your reaction is to it and how you feel about it. Okay?
Yeah.
What about reflexology?
I don't know a lot about it. No.
Huh? No?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, we'll dive deep into that, and then you probably know what it is. You probably just don't know the term. But we'll dive into it. Okay. So let's get into the questions. Okay. What's something you like that other people might find to be weird? And we're talking about like in terms of maybe a hobby you have, or maybe a way you eat your food, or something like that.
Oh, that's a weird one. Gosh, I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move to the
pretty
next one.
normal on that one.
Has anyone ever made you feel insecure about your body or body part before?
I think just growing up as like a female, middle school is always an awkward age, and maybe you're like not developing like everybody else. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, is that something you still deal with today, or you kind of already have a control over it now?
I think when I hit my 30s, I got more comfortable with my body and who I am, and
Got it. Now, what are some steps you took to like kind of cope with it, deal with it, make sure it's not like that much of an issue now?
I think just like loving yourself and just appreciating. I think when you're young and you are trying to find yourself, whether career-wise or like education-wise, and I think just getting confident in yourself helps you with that.
Skin, right? Absolutely. If there was one thing you could change about yourself, it doesn't have to be physical, what would it be?
Yeah, maybe physical. I think just kind of being more content. I feel like I'm always trying to find the next thing to do and just being like happy with where I'm at in life.
Okay, so sometimes maybe moving a little bit too fast and not just kind of enjoying the journey.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, let's get into these questions now. How do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts? Yes.
I appreciate them. I always thought I had big feet, but I think they do a lot for me. Like I hike a lot and I surf and I do things with being active, so I appreciate them.
I think it's one of those body parts that we like kind of take for granted.
Yeah.
It's the thing that grounds us to the earth, that allows us to have that balance and be able to move around, things like that. Have you ever received any compliments about your feet before?
No.
So no men or women?
No.
Really? Because I'll get like I often get from people like, oh, women, they'll compliment me on my nail color and things like that.
No, I don't.
Really?
I don't put a lot of effort. I know like a lot of women like to do their nails all the time. I'm just kind of like whatever with it. Yeah.
Okay. So now, how would you feel if you did get a compliment about that? Like, would it be something that you would be like?
I'd be kind of awkward, honestly.
It would be awkward.
Yeah.
Why?
I think they're kind of when you tell me that, I think of like a foot fetish in a way. Like, okay, like I know people appreciate all kinds of body parts, but never really had that as a.
So now let me ask you this, right? Because I always like to, when I hear women say that, I always like to approach back with this. So now, is it any different? Like if somebody walks up and approaches you and says you have nice hair, your eyes are nice, things like that. Is that different? Because they're still like looking at something.
No, it's true. I think it's all. Yeah, I mean, I understand all of it. Like, people are saying different things. I accept it. I've just never had anyone be like, cool feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that would be a new experience for you.
And
you kind of like,
I'd be like, cool, thanks.
You might be taken back a little bit by it. Okay, cool. In terms of compliments you receive from men and women, right?
Okay,
is there a difference in how you feel about those compliments and who they come from?
That's a hard one. I don't know. I feel like some people get really uncomfortable. I just say thanks.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like people can feel like, don't approach me like that, don't talk to me like that. But I just say thanks and
so
keep
you just
moving.
Thanks and keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. Compliments are designed to make us feel better, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. How often do you get pedicures?
Not that often. Like probably just like 4 or 5 in my life. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a medical pedicure?
I haven't.
So when you go see a podiatrist, specialist of the foot, they basically take a look at your nails and make sure they grow correctly. Well, a lot of women don't know. You go to the nail salon and sometimes they don't cut your nails the correct way.
Right.
So podiatrists make sure that they're cut correctly. They take a look to make sure your toe alignment is good. Take away any fungus, any dead skin, all that.
Yeah.
They use medical grade equipment, so it's the absolutely cleanest possible thing you can get. Now, would that be something you would try in the future? Maybe.
I would try. I mean, I know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah. Might be a good experience, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's try it.
Now, how often do you wear like open toe shoes, sandals?
A lot in the summer, but because I'm a teacher, I closed toe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because like sometimes it can be dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Certain things around. Okay. How often do you go barefoot?
Not that often. I'm at the beach, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever heard of grounding and earthing?
No.
Okay, so like for people who feel like when their feet are like touching the ground, they get energy back
feel.
from the earth. Makes them feel the most at once. So, and what I heard from a couple of people who I talked to who actually go through that process on daily, they say when you were a child, right, when you were born, you didn't come into the world with shoes and socks on, right? And then even as a kid, sometimes maybe when you played, like you would like run around without shoes on, and you were just kind of free, right? And that's kind of that same feeling that you get when you do that, just kind of like meditating and just kind of just feeling like loose and so
zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Would that be something you would try, or?
I would try it. I mean, I have some hippie friends that do that.
Oh, so
like,
you
you
already have some people who do it. Okay.
For me, like I used to run marathons. I'm a runner, so I had like stress fracture. So for me, I was like, I can't do it because it doesn't really support my feet. So that was something.
You always got to have something that's supporting it. I get you.
Yeah.
All right. And so, can we see what your feet look like up close?
Oh my God.
All right.
I'm glad I painted my toenails this morning.
Cool. And put them up here. Put them right here.
There you go.
All right. And what size do you wear?
8.5.
8.5. Okay. All right. And how are you feeling so far during the interview? How's it?
That's cool. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the mental health of what got me started in this. All right.
Yeah.
So I was watching the guy's YouTube channel during quarantine, and he was talking about DBT. Are you familiar with that? All right. So it's dialectical behavioral therapy.
Okay.
So it's for people who suffer from anxiety, depression. They tend to like not live in the moment, and so what therapists prescribe for people who they have as patients.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you have fear of approaching strangers.
Okay.
They would tell you to go out and approach strangers, right?
Okay.
Exposure therapy. Get yourself used to feeling uncomfortable in that situation, right? And when you start to feel uncomfortable, you stop, you do a self-assessment and ask yourself, what's the worst that's going to happen to me in this situation, right?
Yeah.
So if there's not anything that's going to like threaten my life or my safety, do the opposite of what the negative emotions are telling you to do and like proceed. And so, because you could experience like good events, good moments, things like that. What are your thoughts about that?
I guess like can you reword it for me a little bit? Like explain it a little in a different way?
Yeah, so basically it's like overcoming your fears.
Yeah.
So like if you have a fear, and it's not like with everything, but
so kind of just going head into it.
Exposing yourself to that feeling, but looking for a positive outcome out of it instead of looking at it negative.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of like I've heard like trick your brain that way.
Absolutely.
So you it's kind of interesting. Like sometimes with students, I tell them just to kind of go right into things, and then sometimes I just know it's too much for them. So saying like, how can we approach this slowly? But I do think it's a good challenge, and I think that challenging yourself all the time is a good thing.
Yeah. So if you notice, as I'm going through the interview, I'm asking all these questions.
Yeah.
We get to that point where I say, "Hey, can we see what your feet look like?"
Yeah.
That's to test the comfort. Like, can you just like live in the moment?
Show you my feet.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like some people start to think about like, oh well, what's going to happen with this? Like, is something going to happen? And it's like, but like, can we just go through with it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about reflexology, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
Reflexology deals with the different pressure points we actually have in our hands and feet. You have all these pressure points and nerve endings that actually correlate and lead back to other parts of your body. So through massage, acupuncture, acupressure, you can actually alleviate stress and tension in various areas of your body.
Right.
I don't know if you ever deal with migraines, but there's a portion of your foot you can massage that actually will like alleviate that tension from a migraine. If you're sick and your lungs are congested, another portion you can like massage to like help you out there.
Yeah, I can.
What are your thoughts about that?
I could see that. I actually tried acupuncture for the first time.
Oh, sweet. How was it?
Like 2 months. I liked it.
Nice.
It was really interesting to hear just the doctor. It was a doctor, his philosophy on it and why it would work for stress, and so it was really interesting to hear.
It's a more holistic approach as opposed to like taking pills and things like that. Like sometimes I understand like you absolutely need them because the pain threshold may be a little too high, but there's sometimes where we're just dealing with like little bitty kinks here and there, and then we can just take something for it. We don't need to do that all the time.
Right.
Let's wrap up the interview.
Okay.
In terms of my approach, walking up to you, asking you to do the interview, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts?
It was good. I think that I don't know. I try to do things like this. I think just talking to people and seeing their different perspectives is interesting.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Now, in terms of the interview from start to finish, could you see how everything was going and aligned? Did it make sense to you, and did you learn anything new from the information?
Yeah. I think it check out some of these foot things you're talking about with the
Yeah.
the grid.
And I've heard this. I don't know if you deal with like different problems with your foot, like if it cramps up at times and things like that. You can take a tennis ball, right?
Okay.
And in the morning, roll your foot across that tennis ball to like kind of like
get the pressure points out.
Yeah, it's the pressure points, but also like just to loosen up your muscles and stuff. Like a lot of times we have muscles that we don't even realize we use.
Right.
With just walking and stuff.
Right.
So just to kind of loosen that up and kind of get you going like for the day. So that's something that maybe might be helpful.
Roll a tennis ball.
Cool. And so last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, maybe a life lesson that you learned, some wise words somebody imparted to you that you can share with my channel.
Just, I think that we have to look at, like you said, holistic, like different approaches. It's not always medication, and I do support that too. But just being a teacher, I think just trying different things. You got to be open-minded to it and see what works for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you had to go to the restroom.
No,
appreciate you taking the time. And you have a great one. Okay?
All right, take care. Thank you.
All right. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. And how did our paths just cross right now? How did we meet?
I just walked up that hill with my doggy, and you said, "Excuse me," and I turned around. That's how that went down.
Absolutely. And what did our post about?
About being on your YouTube channel, and when I asked further, you explained it would be about feet, mental health, and what was the other? Reflexology.
Absolutely. And in terms of mental health, are there any topics that you like follow closely that you like research about?
Yes, okay. I've been diagnosed with several mental health issues, and of course, when someone tells you you've got something, the first thing you do is Google it.
Absolutely.
And the thing with mental health diagnoses are that they're mutable, they're so changeable, and the definitions of them are changeable. The DSM changes every year, you know. So I don't think there's many people who know a lot about anything. It's something so changing and developing constantly.
Absolutely. So a little bit of the mental health we're going to talk about today has to do with anxiety and depression. Okay. So there may be some helpful information, new information for you there.
Okay.
What about reflexology? Are you familiar with it?
Slightly. I've gone to acupuncture. I've tried different types of Eastern medicines, and so I can't say that I delved too deep into reflexology.
Is any of that helpful for you?
I found the acupuncture to bring out emotions in me that I didn't want to feel, meaning anger. It made me very angry, particularly when she put a needle in my third eye. Rage came forth. Rage, immediate, and I was like, get it out, and as soon as it was, so I'm a little fearful of the acupuncture.
Got it.
But just because I had that one experience with it doesn't mean I won't try it again. I'm just a little.
Yeah, I get you.
I think that something happens. Clearly something's happening.
Yeah.
I experienced the something.
You experienced that.
Yes.
So the reflexology, maybe I'll go a little bit more in depth in terms of what you already know and give you some helpful information. Okay. So let's get to these questions, okay?
Sure.
What's something you like that other people might find to be weird? I'm using the term weird for a reason. It could just be something that people find to be odd, that a hobby you may have or something like that.
I'm really into hockey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more from birth. Where I'm from, it's all about the hockey. So, but people definitely think that it's weird for a chick to be into hockey.
Yeah.
What else am I into that's weird? I don't know. Some people come to me later. I'm sure of it.
Later?
Yes, I will bring up my weirdness.
Okay. Has anyone ever
plane crashes? I am horrified. Of course, I'm horrified and terrified of plane crashes. But I find myself watching shows about them, watching YouTube. Just this morning, I was watching Ethiopia Flight 810, was it? That was hijacked and they ran out of fuel and they had to do a water ditch landing. There's footage of it. Like, I'm obsessed with it.
Okay. So now, that's a new one.
It's weird, right? It's weird.
That's a new one. But it's not weird because it's something that you find interesting, and a lot of times we can call things that other people like to be weird. Right. But as long as it's not hurting anybody and it's something that you're into.
For me, it's the study of the ultimate lack of control. I am strapped in a tube that somebody else is driving, and I'm 30,000 feet from the surface of the earth. It's the ultimate
If that's not having faith, I don't know what it is.
Exactly. And then thousands of them all day long, flying, and it's it's terrifying and exciting and exhilarating.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
I get that.
The loss of complete control.
I like that. Has anyone ever made you feel insecure about your body or a body part?
All the time,
Really?
of course, yeah.
Okay, now is that
mostly
something...
me?
Oh yeah, well yeah, and that's what I hear from a lot of ladies. Like, it's me.
Yes.
Is that something you still deal with on a daily basis?
Daily basis, sometimes minute to minute.
Okay.
I debated changing before walking the
Okay.
dog. You know, like
Yeah.
so. There's a lot of it's pervasive.
How do you cope with like those emotions that come along with that you may feel on a day-to-day basis? Like, how do you cope and get over it?
Well, when I'm aware that I'm doing it, first you have to be aware that you're doing it.
Yes.
So in times when I'm aware of it, I will often take steps, and I can't remember what it's called. Is it cognitive dissonance, where you talk to yourself? No, that's nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Look at yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing great. I'm not actually sure what that technique is
Yeah.
called. But responding to myself almost aggressively, like, no, you shut up. You're doing great. You just keep your shitty opinion to yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, that kind of like getting angry
Yeah.
at the negativity.
Yeah.
So that's one
Putting
thing.
yourself on notice, basically.
Exactly. And the itty bitty shitty committee up there can shut the fuck up. And so I'll take that. But oftentimes I'm not aware I'm doing it, and
Yeah.
I find myself just feeling despair or
I
feeling
see.
self-loathing or
Yeah.
feeling self-disgust. And I don't know why. Well, because I haven't been tracking this thought process
Yeah.
that I've been allowing to be on a loop in my head.
Absolutely.
So how do I react? It depends.
Yeah, I get
it
you.
really does depend.
If there was one thing you could change about yourself, and it doesn't have to be physical,
Okay.
anything you want, what would it be?
I would take my insecurities
Okay.
away from me. I would take
Alright.
all the insecurities. That would be one thing that I could change about myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's get into these questions. How do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts?
I don't think they're ugly like some
Okay.
people do.
Yeah.
I don't mind people touching them. I don't
Okay.
freak out. They're very ticklish.
Okay.
So, getting my my pedicures,
Yeah. Oh.
it's like that. But I love foot massages. I
Okay.
love foot massage. Yeah.
There might be some information I can share with you that could help you be less ticklish from this pedicure.
Oh,
So,
okay.
when we get to the reflexology, I'll jump into that. Have you ever received compliments on your feet before?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
So how would you feel if you did receive a compliment about that? Like if a man came up to you and said, you have nice feet.
I'd be worried that he was a fetishist. First, right out the gate,
Okay.
I'd be like, stop looking at them, you perv.
Got it.
That would be my first instinct. It really
Okay.
would. Not because I think I have ugly feet, just
Yeah.
that I'm aware of foot fetishism.
So now let me ask you this. So a lot of women who I have that say that,
Yeah.
I ask them this in return. Would it be different if a guy came up to you and said you had nice hair, nice hands, nice eyes?
There's
things
still
like that?
a creep, a small. I can see where you're going
Okay.
now. The foot compliment would alarm me more.
Got it.
But any compliment from a stranger puts
Yeah.
me on my guard. Period.
Okay.
Hair would be less so. Feet I'd be more guarded about
Okay.
that.
If a woman gave you that compliment about your feet, I would
No, I'd be like, what do you really? Thank you.
Okay, so now, in terms of compliments, right, not just about your feet, but in compliments in general,
Right.
that you get from men and women, is there a difference in your feelings for those?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, now why is that?
I think with men, my presumption or my prejudice is he's trying to hit on me. He's trying to get something
there
out
it
of me.
is.
Any compliment has
Yeah.
a price tag.
Absolutely.
Whereas with women, they're rarer, and I'm working on making it less rare. Because when I see something I like about a woman, I tell her. I'm like, girl, you look so good in those jeans.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so there's always seems to be an ulterior motive with men, and obviously that's my prejudice, but it is also a result of my experience.
Yeah.
So there's a little
Can I
bit
tell
of
you
both,
something?
certainly.
And I would say about maybe 85% of the women I've interviewed have said the exact same thing you said. So I don't think that that's a prejudice that you have. I think that it's, what women tend to see on a regular basis. And it's sad, but I like to have you guys talk about that because for the men who watch my channel,
Right.
for them to hear that so that they can get it in their head, okay, let's give compliments to mean them. It doesn't have to go anywhere after that. Just, hey,
Right.
you look nice, and keep it pushing.
That'd be great. That would
Absolutely.
be great. If you could tell me that you think I'm pretty
Yeah.
and keep walking,
And keep walking.
that would
I
make
need
my
to say
day.
anything
I would feel like, oh, somebody just said something
It
really
boosts your
nice to me,
confidence.
and
Yeah.
there was no price tag.
Absolutely.
Zero price tag.
Absolutely. And I came up with that concept of asking ladies that question.
Uh-huh.
In my third interview, I interviewed a lady, and she mentioned a lot of times women are taught to be in competition with each other from
Yes.
a young age.
Yes.
So when you get older and you start to receive compliments from other women, it comes across as sincere, and you hold it at a higher regard.
Much higher.
As opposed to the compliments you may get from men, like you said, where it's almost like a coin they're giving you so that they can get something in
Right.
return.
Exactly.
So I absolutely agree with that, and I'm trying to get us to get around to that. So,
I appreciate your hard work, my friend. I do. I think we'll all communicate better if we could understand each other a bit better.
Get on that level.
Right.
What would your thoughts be if you started to date someone? I don't know what your dating situation is, but if you started to date somebody who was into feet, what would your thoughts be?
I like to think I have an open mind.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't gross me out. Oh, I did date somebody who asked me to do something, and I didn't. It was one-time date, but I did it, and I was like, okay, it didn't cost me nothing. Didn't do anything for me. It didn't do anything for me, but he loved it, so I was like, okay. But that's 90% of the sex life, guys. We do it because you want us to, not because we want to do it.
And there needs to be things that guys reciprocate, like for women, that what you want.
I don't. We're getting a little. I'm sorry. I got a thought that I don't feel comfortable expressing.
It's okay, because my next question is, when you first start dating someone, when is the appropriate time for you two to talk about the things you're into, like in terms of intimacy?
I would think right away.
Okay.
But I'm kind of an open person that way, very open. I meet people and I'll tell them pretty much anything.
Got it.
I don't see a lot of point in wasting time and playing games. I just don't. Sometimes I get a bad reception from my forwardness, like, and then I usually get called a bitch, in those, when they react badly to that. But on the other, there's a flip coin. The men that respond well to that, like, she knows what she wants, that's the girl for me.
Absolutely.
So it works as a kind of filter too. If you don't like who I am, bye.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, that's why I like listening. That question as well. Right. Because I get a lot of ranges of reactions from them. So like what you said, I'll get some who are like, man, I want to know right away. We don't have time to waste. Like, if you're not gonna be into stuff I'm into and I'm not into yours, like, let's just keep it pushing. So I love that.
But that doesn't mean there's not room for talk about later in a relationship. You want to spruce things up and let's try this. Or let's. I mean, that's a separate question, I think. Right? Is what? Yeah. Okay.
How often do you get pedicures?
Not as often as I should. Probably once every 6 months. It's one of those things that I do for myself at home.
I see.
And then every now and again I'm like, yes, I give myself pedicures probably every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe 3 weeks when I'm lazy, but going out, that's like a treat.
How often do you wear like open toe shoes, sandals,
Constantly.
Cali weather, right? And you're probably from like a more cold region because you said you're into hockey.
Yes, I'm from Montreal, Canada. So 2 months out of the year you can wear flip flops. At most 2 months out of the year.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
Maybe 3.
Oh man. How often do you go barefoot?
Never, unless I happen to stop in the park and sit. The first thing I did was kick off my my shoes.
Relax.
Feeling the grass on your feet is I don't know, something about being in a park. You can't have your shoes on the grass.
You'd be shocked. I interviewed somebody before and I asked like how often they go barefoot, and they're like never. And I was like, what about the beach? And they're like, maybe. They're like, I said, what at the park? Like, if you're like having a picnic, they're like, nah, I gotta have shoes on. I was like, wow, okay. So
you don't know the joy of grass on your feet. Yeah. Doesn't that take you back to childhood? Running in the grass.
Just being free.
Yes.
Just being free.
Yes.
So do you believe in like earthing and grounding?
What's earthing?
So earthing and grounding is exactly what you're talking about, like being barefoot, letting the earth like touch the
apparently I do.
Yeah, and so what it is, people who do this, they feel like the energy from the earth runs back through their body, through their feet. You can feel it, and it makes you feel the most at one with earth. Yeah.
You can feel it. I do yoga, and one of my favorite poses, you're on one foot, but the way you stay grounded and straight is by channeling the earth's energy into your foot and pulling it all, and then you're just balanced and straight, and it's coming from the. So yes, I do believe in it. Yes, that to answer your question.
Great.
Yes.
All right. So now can we see what your feet look like up close?
Sure.
All right. Can I get you to turn this way and just put them in the center? All right.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's great.
I didn't even shave them. Oh my god.
It's okay. What size are your feet?
10 women's.
Size 10. Okay. Yeah. And you're about, I would say, like 5'7", 5'8".
I'm 5'8".
Okay. Cool. All right. And
do you know this trick?
Huh?
Do you know this trick?
What's that? Oh,
people's feet are always exactly.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's fucking crazy, right? And then you do it, and you're like, wow, it's
crazy.
It works.
You need to extend your feet out and like put your. There you go.
Short people, tall people.
So how are you feeling about this experience so far? We're going through. We're examining your feet.
I'm feeling a little embarrassed, but half-assed embarrassed. Not like I really give a shit. I'm like a little like, oh, I wish I could shake my legs for this, but not that much.
Absolutely. And so let's get into the mental health, right? I'm going to tell you about why I got started into this. So I was watching a guy's channel during quarantine.
Okay.
his channel, he would talk about DBT. Are you familiar with that term?
It's familiar. What's it stand for?
Dialectical behavioral therapy.
No.
Okay, so it's basically with dialectical behavioral therapy, it's for people who suffer from anxiety, depression,
Right.
people who like tend to like not live in the moment.
Right.
They like tend to like overthink the situations they're presented with.
Sure.
So what therapists prescribe for these people is like, let's say you have a fear of approaching strangers. They want you to go out, approach strangers, do it over and over again. Exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Get yourself used to the feeling of like being uncomfortable, and when those uncomfortable urges and feelings come, they want you to cope with it. Do a self-assessment. Ask yourself, what's the worst that's going to happen in this situation that I'm going through right now, right? If there's nothing you can find that's like a threat to your life or to your safety, you should proceed, because you could experience like good events, good moments, things like that, right?
Right.
So in terms of that, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about that? Is it something you agree with, disagree?
Aversion therapy's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And exposure therapy too. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know what my opinion is, because I don't think I have all the facts yet, or I don't think I have enough facts yet.
Yeah.
But it's off the top of my head, it seems like it's a good idea.
It's logical, right? Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, a lot of times when I'm doing these interviews, so I get, you know, different reactions. Some people want to go through the process. They're kind of open like you are, like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Some people are more closed-minded, but I ask them, like, in that situation, it's a challenge. What's the worst that's happening in this situation? What do you see the worst thing being?
Right.
And sometimes it's just being self-conscious, like, oh, I don't want to, you know, and that's fine. But, you know, when you're, when you have situations in life that, like, come up like this, because life is like that,
Yeah.
it just comes at you like that. Like, are you going to be able to run away every time? So it's a way of, like, to get people to, like, think about that and start pushing yourself towards, like, even though it may be uncomfortable and I might not, you know, necessarily feel the most at comfort, you know, step out there and see what happens from it, you know.
Right.
Let's jump into reflexology. So
Okay.
you said you're a little bit familiar with it.
I've had the socks.
Yeah.
that
You
get
got the
in your
socks before.
stocking, you know, you get them in your
Oh,
stocking, and
okay.
then, you know, the socks that show
Nice.
you where to rub,
Yeah.
and oh, this is for your lungs. and this-
Exactly.
yeah,
So
right.
that's what it deals with. So it's about the different pressure points you have in your hands
Right.
and your feet. These pressure points correlate back to other parts of your body.
Right.
So through massage, acupuncture, like that, you can like alleviate stress and tension throughout your body. Now, it won't go away.
No. I was just wondering. I just remembered. Basically,
Yeah.
head, toes.
Yeah. So
Basically,
it's
like
all throughout.
head, neck.
Yeah.
Like it's your top and your bottom.
Yes,
to your
yes,
bottom.
and that's
Okay.
what it is.
If
So-
I'm remembering right.
Yeah, and so if you're someone who deals with migraines or things like that, there's a
Toes,
portion of your
right.
foot, like right at the base of your toe. If you were to massage that area, you can alleviate that
Isn't there
tension
one
you're
right
feeling.
there too? Right, there's a
Yeah, and there's one
headache
right there
pressure
too.
Point right there.
Absolutely,
Same. Is it the same painful? Like
Exactly.
It hurts.
Yeah. And so, with that, you know, what are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about that? You said you had it done before, but you had the
Sure.
acupuncture where it
I had
was.
the acupuncture that I did, had the.
Have you ever tried acupressure? Which is the ones where they deal with the pressure points. They only deal with like
I
massaging
don't know
those
that I've
pressure
had
points.
acupressure. No, I've
Yeah.
had like the cupping and stuff. I
That's a
haven't.
part of it,
Yeah. But massage is kind of acupressure.
It is.
It is.
Well, but the only thing about massaging that I would say, like, because there's a certain amount of pressure that you need to apply
it's not
for
about
it
the
to actually,
relaxing massage.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, as opposed to where you're just rubbing.
Right.
There's a certain amount of pressure you need to add. You actually need to.
One's
activate.
therapeutic and one's relaxing.
Yes.
Right.
And so but there's a way that you could do it to where you could do both, right? So where
I
you.
never understood that, sweetheart. Because
What they want you to do first
Yeah.
is like if you're doing a massage properly, you would start with doing the acupressure, where you just like work the different pressure points, because it helps the foot relax, like get into a relaxed state. After that, that's when you can just start to like kind of rub and things like that, and it helps you relax even more.
That's
Yeah.
always what I've thought. Like I don't like it when they do the pressure at the.
Yeah.
You just relaxed me for 40 minutes, and now I'm in pain and all tense because it hurts.
Yeah.
Like you just negated everything
Absolutely.
you just did. I get upset
Yeah.
about that. Like why
feel
do
you.
it like that? That
I
makes
feel
no
you.
sense.
So now with that being said, we reached this portion of the reflexology. How ticklish are you? You said you're very ticklish.
Yeah, in the chairs, yeah.
Can
yeah.
we test it on camera?
Sure.
Okay. Now, one's going to be more ticklish than the other. Can I touch you just to...
Yep.
Okay. And just do this, and then put this one closer. Yeah. All right, so we're going to start right, and then go to the left. Okay. I want you to tell me which area is more, like, sensitive.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and right at the top.
No, I was reacting
Right here?
more like right about
Okay,
there.
let's try it again. Now, just try to focus, and then let's see. All right. All right. And it's right. It's right there. As soon as I do it, right? Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Not so much here.
No, not so much
But
there.
right
there,
okay.
yeah.
Let's try the left, and I want you to tell me where it's at, okay?
Not so bad there.
Not so bad.
Similar. I'm a
Similar
little twitchy,
area,
but
less.
yeah, not
Okay,
nearly
now
as
I'm going to
bad.
have you try something, and you tell me if it's less or more sensitive.
Okay.
I want you to wiggle your toes here and tell me.
Not at all.
Not at
It's
all,
like
right?
It's not even ticklish.
Now try here. Here.
A little, yeah, a little bit of reacting
You
there.
know why?
But why?
So because your foot's in motion,
Mm-hmm.
you can't pick up on the sensation. So when you go to get your pedicure, like when you start doing that, just wiggle your toes a bit. It can help you out a lot. Like, yeah. So now let me have you do a couple exercises. This is test like if you have any ligament, bone damage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put them back like this. Okay. And what I want you to do is bend your toes over, make a fist. Tell me if you feel any pain or discomfort from it.
No.
Relax. So it's actually fun.
Yep.
Pretty easy to do.
Yep.
Okay. Spread your toes. Tell me if any pain or discomfort.
I
Is it
can't
hard to
spread
do?
that one. That
Hard
one's
to do
broken.
here.
Well,
Okay.
that one's broken. I had a big
Oh, okay.
accident, and there's hardware in
Got
it,
it.
so I can't
Okay.
do those toes. But I can do these. I can
Okay.
spread. That's me spreading as hard as
Okay.
I can on my left.
All right. Relax.
The pinky toe doesn't move anymore.
Just wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds. Tell me if you feel any pain or discomfort from that.
No.
Nothing? Pretty easy?
Nothing. Pretty easy.
Okay, cool. All right, and so now we've reached the end of the interview. I'm going to ask you some questions about, first of all, my approach. When I walked up, I asked you about during the interview, was it good? Was it bad? Is it something I can work on?
I don't. Okay. I obviously it works for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It works for
Absolutely.
me. I think you're doing great.
Thank you so
The
much.
distance thing is really important, and spread the word on that, because I think men might be just coming a little too
We don't
close
think
and
about it.
setting our defenses up
Yeah.
before a word is even exchanged.
Yeah, we don't
know?
think about it. It's one of those things where you think that even if you're walking up and you look polite,
Right.
that you're not going to come across as that way. But for women, you have to like deal with the different things you have to deal with. You never know, so you're always on guard, no matter what.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So
Slightly or a lot, it depends, but always.
yeah, absolutely.
Always. Yeah.
So in terms of the interview,
Yes.
start to finish,
Yes.
did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense to
Yep.
you?
Yep.
And did you learn anything new?
I absolutely did. I
Yeah.
think I absolutely did.
Yeah, I'm like going around telling all the women about that because I know a lot of women when they go get the
I'm the
pedicures.
squirmer.
Yeah, they do that. So I'm like, hey, just wiggle your toes a bit.
That's
and you
cool.
won't feel it as much. Yeah.
That's great.
So the last thing I have all of these do, from a mental health standpoint, a life lesson that you may have learned, some wise words of wisdom you can say to my channel that could be helpful.
Well, now I'm on the spot. I can't think of a thing. Don't eat yellow snow, as they say where I come from.
Okay.
Do you know what that means?
I don't. Let's
Pee in the snow. Guys
Okay.
pee their names in the snow. So we all run around saying, "Don't
Okay.
eat the yellow snow."
got it. Is there a deeper meaning to that? Or?
No,
Okay,
it means
don't
don't
eat
eat the snow with pee on it.
I figured it might be the I didn't know if it had a deeper meaning.
I'm not kidding either. Like
Okay.
when you
Don't
walk to
eat the yellow
school, you know,
snow.
all the boys are writing their names or writing
Wow.
shitty things in the snow with their
Got
pee.
it.
It's like it's a thing.
Got it.
It's a thing.
Okay.
No, I'm sure I'm a lot wiser than that, but on the spot.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Get you a puppy. Always have some
There it
puppy
is.
love.
Got
Puppy
it.
love.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you too. Appreciate you
you.
stopping to do the interview with me.
I don't even know your name.
I'm gonna tell you right after we're done. And you have a great one, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.